think the answer Paul would give us in 2 Corinthians 4 is that we can distinguish it by understanding the infinite difference in our capacities, in what we are capable of and what God is capable of. In that passage that I'm sure you'll know, we read of God that he is the one who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," and he made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. So we're being told here about God who is sovereign in the work of evangelism. And that's in the context of Paul saying that the God of this age, small g God, that's Satan, has blinded the minds of unbelievers. So that's what makes evangelism difficult. And it's a huge relief for us to be able to look at that and say, well, that's mercifully, that is not my role to open blinded eyes, because we have no capacity for that. We have no capability. We are no match for Satan, but God is more than a match for him. He has the sovereign power to do that. In comparison to that, we are, in verse 7, jars of clay. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. So I think we understand the distinction between our role and God's role in terms of these capabilities, these capacities. He's the sovereign Lord of the universe. He's the one who's able to undo the blinding work of Satan. We, in comparison, are just like jars of clay. But that does not mean that our work is unimportant. It doesn't mean that it's insignificant or we have nothing to do. Because, verse 5, we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord. And the link between the blinding work that Satan does and the shining work that God does as he opens blinded eyes is that there are these clay pots, you and me, ordinary people, without any promise, but in whom God has put his Spirit, in whom he's put his gospel, in whom he's put his Son, and our task is to proclaim Christ. So the interesting thing about that is that we don't have to do God's work. He will open the blinded eyes. That's amazing. But he will not do our work. He calls on us to proclaim Christ. And in fact, in the next chapter, in chapter 5, verse 20, Paul says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you in Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God." So his work is to open the blinded eyes. Our work ahead of that is to proclaim Christ and to make him known.